All right, hi guys. I'm going to teach the lunge series from the assistant teaching templates. Now for your lunges, I'm just going to teach a base lunge. Okay, so you can consider this a flow kind of lunge. You can always build on top of it. Okay, so for the spring setting, for a flow class, I think I would just keep everybody on a whole spring. So one red spring. Have them start standing next to the reformer. So we have one foot on the floor. You want that foot up just underneath the foot bar, okay? Or just like in line with the spring or the carriage bed here. And then the other foot goes back against that shoulder block. I typically start with the hands down and the knee down because that's gonna give clients the most support. It'll be accessible for a wide range of people. Now you start to press out to your lunge, bending into this leg, pushing back through that shoulder block, and then come all the way up. Okay, now I would start everybody here. I wouldn't necessarily start my timer yet though. So I would start to progress, okay? Now I would say you can either lift the knee or bring the hands on the hips. One point of contact comes away. It could be one or the other. If the knee's down, you still have some stability, that point of contact on the carriage. And then you can start to lift the knee, push back into your full lunge, come all the way up. Now, when you're lunging, you're bending into your standing leg, straightening back through your other leg. So you want to engage the quad, squeeze the glute, find length through that foot, come all the way back up, standing up right. So this should be the start position. As you push back, I really have been just focusing more on a hinge forward. So you have nose, knees, toes in one line, because that's going to work your glute. When you stretch the glute, you hinge forward, drive through the floor, come back up. That's going to work that glute max, okay? And then we go into some scooters. Now, if you want to just stay on this one red spring, but you want to offer a progression to make it harder and heavier, for your scooters, I would start everybody here, go out and in. For me personally, the red is still a little bit light. So instead of adding another spring, you could simply bring your foot forward to the edge of the carriage, now push out and in. So that's gonna stretch the spring more. If someone clunks the back of the reformer, maybe bring the standing foot forward a little more, or bring their chest forward over the foot bar, okay? I got stuck. Seems to happen. I'm just gonna throw these down. Okay, after that, we go into an Eve's lunge stretch. So feet are in the same position, hands on the foot bar. I kind of really love the classic Eve's lunge. So it's gonna be adding like a cat-cow. So start with the carriage in, round the spine, press out, extend. Come in and round. Press, extend. Now this is stretching your psoas, your hip flexor, your quad. It goes all the way up through your core as well. And you get your cat-cow. Flexion, extension of the spine. Do that for about 15-20 seconds. And then you press out, hold, straighten your standing leg, roll back onto the heel, flex your toes toward your nose. And I always like to bring the outside hand down to the frame, okay? Shoulders, hips are squared, little bend in the knee. If they hyperextend, they should feel this in the hamstring. Back of the thigh, calf, glute. Extend your spine, you'll get a bigger stretch. So extend the spine, you're gonna stretch your hamstring more, okay? Come all the way in, side splits. So face toward the reformer. Both feet are gonna face inward. As you press out, one hand goes to the mat, the other to the frame across. And then in this stretch, tip the tailbone up. That's an anterior tilt of the pelvis. Lean back for a deeper stretch. So you're still in spinal extension. Clients should feel this in the inner thighs and the hamstrings. Back is flat, shoulders down. Breathe in, breathe out. Come all the way in, and then repeat on the other side. Now, if you want to level it up, add weights, add a ball, add some rotation, lateral flexion to that movement. Make the spring lighter. The blue is gonna increase the challenge. The yellow is gonna increase the challenge one more time. So the lighter the spring on a body weight exercise, the harder it is. Think about your planks. When the spring is light, it makes it harder. Think about your bridge, body weight exercise, lighter spring, harder. Lunge is essentially a body weight exercise. Lessen the spring, increase the intensity. Now, for a flow class, if you're looking to get like flexion, extension, we just did that. Maybe a little bit of rotation. Okay, so I would probably rotate toward the standing leg. The other way might just feel kind of weird. So as you press out, you can rotate, reach the arm out, come back in. So if you want to add a little bit of rotation here, this could be like maybe you do just 30 seconds here. Maybe you do 30 seconds rotation of the spine, and then maybe you do a third round with 30 seconds of lateral flexion and back up. Can we go both ways? I don't know. You can play around with it. Test it out. But lateral flexion is side to side. So flexion means bending. Usually flexion of the spine, rounding, that's your cat back. Extension of the spine, cow, okay? So think like this. Flexion, extension, okay? Round and flex the spine from the tailbone through the crown of the head. Extend the spine from the tailbone through the crown of the head. Now, lateral means side, flexion means to bend. So side bend is lateral flexion. So think rib to hip, like an accordion kind of. And then rotation primarily happens at the thoracic spine. Your lumbar mostly does extension. So think about your low back doing back bends. That's the function of the lumbar spine. The function of your rib cage is to rotate. Okay, the whole spine does flexion and extension, but we want to think about those different planes of motion through the spine, because that's what Pilates is all about. It's about strengthening the spine, and mobility is part of that. Staying mobile, staying strong, being able to perform daily activities with spontaneous vigor and zest. That's what Joe Pilates wrote about in his book, Return to Life. So he talked about you're only as old, wait, what did he say? You're only as young as your spine is mobile, something. Oh man, now I filmed this. How does it go? You're only as young as your spine is mobile, something like that. He related your age to your spinal mobility. So that's what we're doing in Pilates. We're thinking about moving the spine in all planes of motion. Spinal health, strength, mobility, it all goes hand in hand. So, okay. I hope you guys enjoyed.